Let's get started, everybody. Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Live Feature Rant. On my screen right is returning guest Poro Sorceress, a landmark sculptor extraordinaire who isn't willing to admit it, but totally is. And on my screen left, Reanazra and Zubei, the lovely newlywed couple that we spent an awesome drunken night on Sunday with.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
It was so much fun. Yeah, so we were all at SOE Live. There is a lot to talk about. Let's just jump right on into it. Hey, how you doing, Krona? Alright, so I'm going to bring up an image real quick. So the combat system's coming in, and it's a little bit of a different system. We have these things here called keywords. Now, this image right here is from the EverQuest Next content, and they've said we're going to start with these 7 keywords plus many more. But the way the keywords work is basically, they're kind of like if you play DCOO, the different power interactions, or if you... if you've played, a lot of RPGs and such, there's things where if an enemy's got fire damage on it, you hit it with fire, it'll do, more effect. Well, it's kind of a different sort of thing. Here, it's more the way you're designing your build. You're going to be using things that kind of access these keywords, items that first kind of get you into being able to work with that keyword, and then a different type of item that kind of builds upon that and adds more functionality to it, like... one item that allows you to do fire damage on your attacks, and another one that makes you gain armor for every tick of damage over time that the fire does. Just as an example, I'm not saying that's actually going to go in. So I'm really excited for that part of it, because that's going to add a whole lot to the the combat system in general. There's a lot to it, and I know I'm kind of skipping ahead here, but the keyword stuff, I'm really excited for that, what we're going to be able to do with that and see with that. So the ones we've got listed here, lightning, which is about energy fluctuation and movement, makes sense. Energy fluctuation means the actual energy meters, whether it's sapping enemies' energy or doing things to boost that of your allies. Energy is what all of your abilities come off. There isn't magic and stamina or anything. That's all just energy, basically. So physical attacks, or physical rather, is like your weapon attacks, bleeding damage, armor mechanics, things that are going to help improve your armor or help you break down an enemy's armor quicker. We've got shadow, which, deception. You're going to be sneaky, stealthy sort of things. Damage, like life drain stuff, and trade-offs, like things where you maybe take more damage, but you can also deal a lot more damage. So if you're about to sneak up on someone and do just a really big combo on them, or you've got them stunned, you could maybe trade off some of the damage or your armor for the ability to just obliterate them quickly. Water, of course, crowd control, they list in defense here. That makes sense. I can see not just water, but ice being used for a lot of defensive things. And, once again, it's water and kind of useful for that sort of stuff. Fire, of course, I'm sure water will also put it out. It does some amount of instant damage, direct damage. Allegedly critical strikes is something associated with it, but I could see that going with... really anything physical or lightning or whatever. Radiance, of course, is the opposite of shadow. That's your light, your holy ability or whatever. It's your healing. You've got different types of defense, and probably a lot of your buffs and group bonus abilities are coming off of that. So that's just the 7 that we kind of are exposed to, and they might not necessarily work in exactly those ways, but we're probably going to see a lot more stuff kind of building off of that. So I'm going to take the screen down and bring all of your lovely faces back up. Now let's talk about that a little bit. Whoever wants to start, just go for it.
So I'm kind of confused, first of all, because is this stuff only EverQuest Next, or is this applying to Landmark Combat too? Because it seemed like they were split there.
They're actually going to work in both. Now, with EverQuest Next, it's also tied to the character classes and their origins, which is a little bit different. We don't have character classes in Landmark, and thus the need for the origins is not there. We just go straight into keywords, and that's all stuff that's built into our equipment.
Okay, because they said, like, they hinted that based on different keywords, when you use the abilities in the world, it might actually have, like, different effects. Like, I think the example given was if you're near nature stuff, maybe you gain, like, some more abilities when you're in an area that has an affinity for that. So I wonder if that would be the same in Landmark.
Possibly, but I think that might be talking more along the lines of like whenever Corlin is casting a spell. If you've read any of the lore books, that he's basically drawing those energies from nature. When he casts a fire spell, he's drawing from torches and candles and such. When he's drawing from for affliction to do some sort of like a toxic or rotting damage attack, he's drawing from corpses and swamps and nasty stuff that he can find in the area. So that's I think more towards the EverQuest next spectrum. I don't think we're gonna have that sort of thing in Landmark, but there might be ways to have like orbs or special props or whatever that specifically radiate a certain type of energy that you would be able to leverage with your equipment. All right. So the two of you, what do you have to say about the subject? Any thoughts?
I honestly have nothing. I mean, everything that we've gone over just now is basically. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be in Landmark though. I thought it was just going to be an EverQuest next thing as well. I know that armor is supposed to change that the way we move or regenerate, like certain things or like energy when we use certain heroic movements. But I didn't think that would have that in Landmark.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's all going to be it's starting simple in Landmark, but what's going to be building up from Landmark will probably end up being, if not the system that goes in EverQuest next, at least a lot of the major parts of it, minus the class system itself.
Okay.
Yeah, as Icklith had said, most systems will have to be tested in Landmark first. So we'll be seeing the various inklings of it as we play through, and then eventually they'll get to a point where if we want to test something that's close to a class in EverQuest next, that's just how we stack our equipment and our abilities, and whatever if we get more abilities that go on the hotbar and stuff later on, then being able to experiment with that stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about this stuff because we don't really know what we're going to get after the three that we have right now. Like seeing the divine weapon set and the fire and stuff, but beyond that, I feel like we don't really know the scope of like different kinds of abilities we're going to have yet. We get Theorycraft based on the keywords, though.
Yeah. Thornbriar and Lore Compulsion is just... Yeah, I was not sure if that was necessarily a water ability. I mean, I think there was also a psionic somewhere in the stuff that's actually going into Landmark. So... So anything else on this subject in particular? Nope. Alright.
No, I don't know, honestly.
Well...
There's not much to go by. I mean, all they did was say what they could use different combinations and stuff. But not really sure where to go off on that until it's actually more is added, more information.
So Theodora has a question. Yes, if we imbue the keywords into the equipment, I don't think that's how it works. I think the different sets just have different keywords, and you take on those qualities when you equip them.
Well, actually, the imbuing system may give us some ability to do that, to add extra stuff in, but that's a later system of crafting that hasn't been implemented yet.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it was... I can't remember if that was just mentioned in a conversation in one of the hallways, or if it was actually in one of the panels, but I most definitely remember hearing about that part. We still don't have the rest of the crafting system in yet either, so there's a lot more room for that. But no, most of what the combat system is and how it's going to work initially is you're basically going to have two types of item. One is the kind of combo entry item, the thing that starts you in being able to use that keyword or combination of abilities that you want to start leveraging and building off of. And then there's your combo enhancement item, the thing that builds it up, that does more with it, that makes it do more damage, or penetrates armor, or drains energy, or it uses less of your energy, or however it works. There's a lot of different ways that you'll have between your weapon, your armor, and your accessories. You're going to have a lot of different combinations for how you'll be able to customize your build, and it'll really give us a lot of different things we'll be able to work with. So I'm really excited for all of that, and that, once we actually get the patch in, they said there's only going to be the 3 weapons and the 3 armors and probably a few accessories, but even that's going to give us a wide amount of variety to work with and a lot to be able to give them feedback on. So I'm really excited for that. Hey Neo, how's it going? So, alright, so let me...
One of the concerns I did hear about, though, was people being afraid that it was going to be all Twitch skill.
Well, at the pace that it's going right now, I can see how someone might feel that way about it, but there's definitely, I think, a lot more tactics that has to go into it, and it seems like with armor being the way it is, you'll be able to kind of test the waters a little bit rather than going full on with your abilities and then, just getting screwed. Though it does seem like some abilities, like if a wizard sneaks up on you with or the conjurer's staff user rather, they hit you with the right click to stun, and then using the shotgun at maximum damage at close range might be able to take you out really quickly. But it's a big trade-off, because if they fail at that, then they might be left vulnerable and you can just start wailing on them. So it's definitely an interesting sort of give and take sort of thing we're going to have to see with combat and see how it all works out. Yeah, Thornbriar, exactly. That was actually something I was asking about there, is different combinations of left click and right click and tapping things and holding things to get more attacks out of the weapons that they're going to be adding. And it sounds like that's going to be something that they're going to do, is give more abilities and different types of abilities just using the left and right click. So that should be nice.
Pizza asked if the archer seemed kind of tab targety.
I don't think so.
It seems like you gotta aim, so...
Yeah, to cast that sniper's mark.
With that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Smite, in a way. All the abilities, you have to pretty much aim.
Yeah. They actually said the sniper's mark, you have to hold right click while you're casting it and continue looking at them. And there's probably a cone that you have. It's not just right where the crosshair is. But once you've finally cast the spell and you've marked them, then you start hitting them with the left click, the quick shot or rapid shot or whatever it's called, and you get extra damage out of it. So that's and knockback as well. So that's pretty cool. I could see a situation where you could potentially take down a fighter with the sword who already used their right click rush ability and it's kind of on a cooldown, or they don't have the energy to use it again. Just getting that sniper's mark on, and while they're trying to run towards the archer to get after him, the knockback from the rapid shot's able to keep him back, especially if they specialize for knockback in their build. Combat seems very Minecraft, but better. Flatus, smack yourself with that green sword.
Honestly,
Maybe
I
after
played Minecraft, but combat did not look very exciting in that game. Maybe I'm missing out on something. I don't know.
No cooldown, just energy use. Okay then. Cool. Yeah, wasn't 100% sure about that detail. All right. So, before we move on to the next subject, well, yeah, let's move on to the next subject. Unless you have any last thoughts on the combat stuff, or at least this part of it. Because the next thing I'd like to talk about is just the health, armor, and energy system, because I realize we kind of might have skipped that detail.
I don't think I have anything to add to combat.
Okie dokie. It's going to be awesome.
I will say that it is going to be awesome.
Yeah. Alright, folks.
Just see what kind of custom things people come up with.
For sure. So I've brought up this image here of armor, and this is, I think, from one of Tenma's videos. Now, I got a shout out to Tenma and Nuber, and I believe Velix was also part of the filming process. these folks worked really hard trying to bring us to streams. Nuber was able to do some streaming during one of the shows that wasn't actually being streamed, and that was really awesome. So really, really appreciate that from all of them. It's really awesome. So, talking about armor here, there's three meters you'll see on the right here. There's a blue one, that's your energy. On the left, there's kind of a reddish one on the inside and a yellowish one towards the outside. The yellow one is your armor. It's basically that can get beaten down and it'll regenerate when you're out of battle, kind of like an overshield you see in Halo or really so many other games after or even before. And then beyond that is your actual health, that red meter. That doesn't restore the same way. There's probably ways to heal yourself, but mostly having your armor get chipped down and then getting out of battle so it can be restored, or doing other things that help you not get hit. Seems like the best way to kind of maximize your ability to stay in battle and not get killed. And likewise, energy, it's something everything's going to use. Grapplers are going to use it. All of your heroic movement's going to use it. So I'd wager the Belt of the Zephyr probably slowly drains it over time while it's being used. All of your attacks are going to be coming off of energy as well. So it's kind of important to be able to manage all of these. And with the pace of combat right now, it's definitely something where it can be easy to lose track of one or the other. Where the UI is placed, I think, is pretty good, because that way you're actually able to see everything that's going on in just one glance, rather than having things spread out all the way to the corners. So I'm going to bring this image down. We already talked about combat for the most part, so was there anything else that anybody had to say about the subject? Otherwise, I'm probably going to move on to the creatures.
The only thing I was just looking at Josh Augustine on Twitter. He's one of the devs, and he was saying that they're still discussing whether they're going to have weapon ability cooldowns and effect durations and stuff like that.
I got Josh Augustine's business card.
He is really cool.
He is. I also got Jeremy Soul's business card.
That guy's a wizard.
Yes, he is.
You're a wizard, Harry.
He is, I would say, like the John Williams of video game soundtracks. Just absolutely amazing. All he can do is make awesome stuff. Jeremy Soul is quite legendary.
I was hoping that they would have the finished EverQuest Next theme song.
Oh. Yeah, I think that's going to be a little while still.
It's been a while.
Oh, Corona mentioned the open world PvP thing. We talked to a lot of devs about it, and they want to do it. There's a lot of things that they do want to do it. I think they're afraid it's gonna piss people off, and yeah, it is gonna depend on how much you guys want it. There's probably gonna be some technical things too that go along with that, but
I want them to open like a PvP shard. There's like a server island, what do you want to call it?
Yeah.
Just all open PvP. I think that would be fun. That would be a really good way to test fighting people in caves and stuff. That'd be awesome.
You know, I think it would almost be more fun trying to do an episode of Castles and Crapjacks, or I guess it would be Content and Creations, touring on that island, because I have to fight people while I'm taking shots of the stuff, and yeah, that might come to a castle that I'm trying to tour, and it's already halfway torn down with catapults and stuff, so it'd be exciting. Kind of a fun experience.
One thing I didn't see, though, the landmines, they don't seem to blow up the ground. I wish that'd be awesome if they did. I guess that would just destroy everything, though, so.
That might just be functionality they didn't have ready for the demo. I have a feeling explosives will all destroy the area around them. It's kind of like, I think of Worms with that. Anything explosive will deform the world in some form or another. So I'm really hoping that they will actually do that, because that might be a fun sort of thing. you have to jump down into an area with landmines and then grapple out real quick so the area below can get blown up and reveal the next area you're trying to go. And that might not even be for PvP. That could just be a dungeon type encounter, just a little secret area that people can access if they're smooth enough. Later, Rave. Alright, so...
Oh, hey, what's going on? Sorry, I'm trying to watch the chat on a tablet because for some reason chat is not working in my browser, so it's kind of weird. I'm watching these guys on Skype and I'm watching chat on a tablet, so it's kind of a pain in the butt.
That's really generous of you, Krona, offering up Rebellion Tunnel. Alright. You're the only person there with a claim. That's hilarious. I bet we can... What was that?
I said we were talking about that earlier on Twitter, saying how I feel like Rebellion sounds like a great PvP server.
Yeah. It does.
I heard that from several people.
Yeah, I think Rave even said the same thing at some point. Rebellion does sound like a good name for a PvP area, but I would imagine they would not use a current existing server to spin up PvP, because then everybody who's got a claim would be like, "Oh no, you forced me into PvP."
The anger would be real, even if they even if they waited for a wipe, so that nobody had a claim there.
Yeah.
There would be much anger.
Yeah, I like your thinking there, Sog. Courage could be also good, but once again, we'll let them figure that out for us.
It seems like that's why they don't do a lot of things, because they know that people will get very angry. And you would think that maybe that's not the case because of how often people do get angry, but they actually try to avoid people getting angry. Like, that's the reason we're not going to see falling damage come in as a surprise, like all of a sudden it just gets toggled on. Because 99% of everyone thinks that it would be hilarious, but a very small amount of people would be really mad.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sticking with my guns on the thing I said at the dev crunch about having it that nobody has falling damage until when the patch goes in for it. Somebody who's like 200 meters down in the caves finally has a fall that would kill them. And then they die of falling damage, and then that unlocks falling damage for everybody in the game. It's just someone has to go far enough down in the depths and fall to their doom before everybody gets to fall to their deaths.
You know what I think part of the anger is? People have this delusion that they're going to never die, and that somehow if they die, it like ruins their reputation or something. Like, they want to feel like those cool people who have 0 deaths, like it's counting or something.
Yeah, no, Landmark is not a hardcore game. Roguelike, YOLO! Alright, that's enough out of me. Speaking of death, creatures! So I brought up the image here for creatures. We've got the fiery fungus in the upper left there, which, as they just said on the Landmark live show, it starts very, very tiny, and as you get close to it, balloons up and it explodes. Looks like you have enough time to get away from it, though, so,
So that's not really a monster, right? Because it just does its thing, and then it's bad. Like, you don't actually get to fight it, I don't think, right?
You might be able to blast it with a long-range attack and take it out before it can explode. But if you're close up, you probably wouldn't want to try that. Then in the top center there is the Chomper. We've seen the Chomper. Definitely putting one in a green cylindrical tube because piranha plants, Then the upper right is the Necrozoa, and apparently it looks different from every angle and is totally freaky. I guess that's probably playing more to the sci-fi element of the game, as some sort of weird alien thing. I have no idea what to expect from it.
Yeah, we don't know what that is, really. I'm glad we basically get Boku Babas, though.
Which what, Hans?
The flower things from Zelda that bite you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in the lower left is the scorpion bush, which it looks all pretty and glowy, and when you get close to it, it spits a bunch of green crap at you. Best to avoid, best to hit it from long range, or yeah. I'd imagine everybody's going to probably want to carry a long range weapon, even if it's not the kind of build they normally do.
Yeah, I meant to ask about that. Did they say anything about being able to switch weapons while in combat? Like in PvP, can you use a bow, and then when someone gets up to your face, use your sword? Or are you stuck to using that weapon while stuck in PvP?
There's going to be switching. We don't know how much or how often, but yeah, you're going to be able to switch in combat.
I think switching weapons in combat will probably be something that's a little bit more possible, but I think when you're out of combat, they might have more of a full package switch that you can switch out your weapon, your armor, your accessories with the press of a button. And I'm really hoping that they go forward with something like that, because if I want to switch from one build to another, I don't want to have to basically take everything off and look through my bags and find specific items, especially if I've got 5 or 6 builds that I'm potentially switching between. Just so long as I can do it with a single button press out of combat, that makes things a lot easier. So the last creatures here are the wisps. The red one looks like it's a fiery type. The black one in the middle, it's kind of bluish. Looks like it's of course going to be a shadowy type, and then the white one's probably going to be a radiant type. So, equip the proper arsenal before fighting them, or avoid them. But they're not like the other. Them and the Necrozoa have the advantage that because they're flying, there's kind of soft ways to cheat pathing. They just float. They don't need to actually touch the ground and have inverse kinematics make sure their feet lock into the terrain as you make all the steps. So that's going to be the first moving mobs we're going to see, and until they've got all of the pathing stuff in, they'll probably be the easier ones, and there'll probably be more floating stuff earlier on, I would imagine, until they've got the all the terrain stuff worked out. So I'm going to bring this image back down. So, is there any particular monster that anybody's looking forward to fighting, or is it more, I'm looking forward to there being monsters in the game, but they all kind of seem mean to come across?
They all seem pretty scary for melee. Like, they all explode. You don't want to get close to any of them. So, I feel like there's going to be a lot of ranged people in PvE. Which is
There's
usually
a good chance that I'll die to all of them.
There's a good chance we'll all die to all of them.
Oh, that's definitely.
I mean, nobody's gonna be all like, Fippy dying every 6 minutes, but I don't know.
Someone can be.
We could be. You're right. That could be. That
It'll
should
probably be me.
You should have death tolls. See how many people can die the most.
It would have to be an opt-in sort of thing to see that stat, because I know a lot of people would be really mad if, someone could look up their character and be like, oh, you've died this many times, you're a noob. But no, that's I actually think death toll is kind of a funny thing. I think there should be an achievement that you can only unlock by dying to various different forms. Falling damage in the different biomes, falling damage at different depths, falling from different heights, dying to different creatures, dying to combinations of creatures, dying to players while fighting a creature, dying to creatures while fighting a player, all that sort of fun stuff.
If it comes in, if there was a way to actually see how many times someone died, we would be all over that. We would just walk around the world harassing people.
Hey, what's death count? Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Dying to
I
creatures while
actually would not
drunk.
be surprised if dying does become an achievement the first time you do it, because there are going to be achievements. Well, there are going to be achievements in EverQuest Next. I don't know about Landmark.
No, Landmark actually, all of our unlocks and character progression, it sounds like, is going to be based on achievements. Completing things in the world, doing things, performing different actions. From last year's keynote, they actually said that's how you're going to be able to build up your character in Landmark. Maybe it was not the keynote, but there was maybe it was at the Year of EverQuest event or something. But that's basically how it's going to work. Is yeah, you go out in the world and you do things and you find stuff and you kick ass, and that's how you're going to be able to advance your character and get more health and energy and stuff for them, beyond just what you can equip. What's so funny over there?
I tried moving my chair and I hit my desk and my monitor moved and it just looks. I don't know. It looks funny.
His face.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the achievement should be some really interesting stuff. So, the other thing, and I don't have the image lined up for it, we're getting new props. We're getting new interactable props that are going to add a lot of awesome functionality. So we have three types. One is a teleporter. And you basically you place down the teleporter and it's in two parts. You step on either one side and it'll put you to the other side. If they're within, I believe, 192 voxels of each other, then they will not have any loading issues. But any distance further than that, and it'll potentially do like a slow zoning kind of load rather than just rapidly moving into the position. So it's definitely one of those things that players are going to have to consider with their builds. Zooming out, I see. Zooming in. Alright. The second type of thing where you get is the moving platforms. You get two endpoints and it will path between them as best as possible. And you can put level to each other. You can put one higher up. You can probably rotate one to the side, and it will just path the platform between them. You just stand on it and stay on it. Unlike all of the other moving props that exist in the game, this is the first one that you'll be able to stand on and have it move you with it, rather than just falling out from under you like the rug does. So that should be really nice. Yes, aerial, faith plate, flinger, man launcher, man cannon. I still just think of it as the launchers, the Donkey Kong Country barrels, just without it being in the shape of a barrel. So the way it works, you've got the launch point. You step on that and it launches you, and then wherever the endpoint is defined, it will get you automatically to that point, so long as the endpoint isn't embedded too far into a wall or something else. Eventually they'll give us the ability to make the endpoint invisible as well, so we won't even have to see it anymore or have to hide it in any way. We'll also be able to define the power of it, and the more power the launcher has, the higher up the arc will be. Now, like they were saying in the demo there, if somebody tries to make a trap where you'll kill people with falling damage because you have a launcher here and the drop-off point is way down, it doesn't work like that. The launcher basically moves you on a track. It does not count as a jump. It basically counts as a fall. There's no way you can divert yourself. You can't use the belt of the Zephyr. You can't use the feather in a bottle. It will guide you from point A to point B, and you take 0 falling damage when you get to the other side. Now, if there's landmines there, you'll die from those if you can't get out of the way. But the launchers themselves will not kill you. You also might be able to kill someone by putting a launcher endpoint on a wall where there's nowhere for them to grab, and they'll just splat and fall down. And I'm sure that'll be fun. Hey, Diggs, how's it going?
Hi, Diggs.
So, these props. So, is there anything in particular that you folks are like already ready to do with them? You're just waiting for them to come in?
No, I'm not extremely creative. I think it would be fun to do a PvP arena out of just moving platforms, though. Like,
I
just
was
make
gonna
a
do the same
giant
thing.
pit, and all of the areas, like, moving platforms. Oh, like, maybe everybody would just fall down, I don't know. You can make it water under.
I mean, still
And
my
if you go
idea.
down there, you'll drown.
Oh, Wick says that you actually can steer yourself out of safety from a launcher. Heh, not a good idea.
Yeah, because if you steer yourself and you fall too far, you'll die. But depends. Yeah, I was thinking about having like a huge area with just launchers all around it, and a big hole in the middle, just jumping back and forth, trying to kill each other in the air.
That should be a lot of fun.
That'd be
You
awesome.
could do some interesting puzzles with the teleporters, I think. Like, people have been doing mazes. You could really make the mazes a lot more complex and interesting using the teleporters.
I imagine people are going to be making a series of launchers and teleporters that will, you step on it and it starts launching, and then you launch into a teleporter. Teleports spit you downward because you can rotate the teleporter. It'll spit you downward onto another launcher that launches you somewhere else, and somewhere else, and somewhere else. And then at the very end of it, it just, flings you way far away. I don't know exactly what the max distance is, but it sounds like you'll be able to go pretty far with it. Yeah, Empty Stunner, I've been thinking about that. I have actually been thinking about that quite a bit. One of my old alpha claims. Actually, two of my old alpha claims. And that's a good point. Floating islands will probably be a lot more fun to play with. Oh, but they did say falling damage, it sounds like, will be in effect. Unless Dave corrected it, falling damage will be in effect while you're building. So,
Really?
yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
thought
scary.
it wasn't.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't either. Unless somebody can find a correction or a revision that's come out since then, I'm pretty sure we're going to be potentially splatting. So, start with a pool of water underneath so that way you can at least, fall into a net. He did correct it? Oh, okay.
Oh,
It's only
as
when
long as-
PvP's
if you
in
have a
it.
double jump, you can try to double jump before you hit the ground.
No, you can't. Dave was wrong about that. If you fall off a platform, you do not have a double jump and you cannot glide with the belt of the Zephyr. You are in a falling state. You actually have to physically jump and have that propel you off the ground before you're coded as being in a jumping state that allows you to double jump or glide off of it.
Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
People are dying left and right trying. Well, someone said no falling damage on your claim, so.
Yeah, so he did correct it. Cool.
We're seeing conflicting things in the chat.
I don't know
think
who to
he
believe.
corrected it on Twitter most
Yeah.
recently. That's what happened.
I guess we'll see in the 27th.
Yeah. We'll have to,
And if you don't use Twitter, dead.
yeah. Alright. So, let's kind of do a little swag review here because there was a lot of awesome loot at SOE Live, and no.
I just wanted to say that when they start adding in more of those props that you can use to make games and stuff, I want to see suckers that you can put in the water. If people fall in the water in a certain spot, it'll suck them down and they will drown.
That would be pretty cool. Various things to
Man, you're evil.
That's a great idea.
just gravity-based things in general, things that'll pull you one direction, and if there isn't a wall to stop you from getting from it to that, then you just get splattered into it, like a turbine or something. Yeah, I could totally see that being something they add later on. Or
Yeah, they said we're gonna see poison fog and stuff. Like, it's gonna be awesome.
yeah, poison fog and just being able to work with volumes in general, because that's also going to mean they've been talking about the idea of using volumes to define areas is indestructible. So instead of it being just the strength of the voxels, you can actually define like specific walls as just cannot be destroyed.
But I wonder how. I hope the volumetric volumetric fog doesn't destroy frame rates because shadows kill my frame rates, and usually volumetric fog does kind of hinder it.
Yeah, that definitely consideration. I'm hoping that the ability to work with volumetric fog has improved over the years and gotten efficient enough that it will hopefully not, be that big of an impact. But no way of knowing. I've seen volumetric fog done in so many ways, from like very cheap looking like floating Kleenex bundles or whatever, and it occludes light, but if you actually look at it from within, it just looks really weird and funny and kind of wavy. But yeah, I'm really hoping that it'll actually, not only look good, but run fairly efficiently.
Could add a whole new thing to like haunted house type battlegrounds, fog everywhere.
Yeah.
Fun.
Or a literal fog of war, areas that you can't see more than like 5 feet ahead until you've already been there once.
So you wanted to talk about swag, right?
What was that?
I said you wanted to talk about swag, right?
Yes. So there's a lot of awesome stuff. First off, the lanyard this year, pretty simple. They didn't go with something too crazy. It's just got SOE Live on one side and Year of EverQuest on the other side. I think I might have gotten one of those earlier in the year at one of the events they had, but I can't really remember. The EverQuest 10th year anniversary stickers here, these came in the swag bag. The SOE Live loot card that Poro is showing there came in the swag bag. We got these DCUO belts. I haven't taken mine out of the bag yet. What do you have over there? Oh, you got the EverQuest Zippo. Nice.
The Shadow Knight Zippo. They didn't have any Rogue Zippos for some reason. So
they did, but they ran out really fast.
I didn't see them on the paper. Apparently they did have them, but I stuck with the Shadow Knight one. I also got a couple Fippies. I brought my Fippy to work though, and I left them in my cube, and she unfortunately lost hers at the con.
Here we go. So yeah, DCUO. It's got the shiny belt buckle, and it's got a scene of Batman, Joker, Lex fighting Superman. It's basically that intro sequence kind of put on a belt. It's kind of interesting. I think I saw Rai wearing it on the second day.
Someone was wearing it on stage, one of the DCUO guys, I think.
So there were two different H1Z1 zombie masks. Somebody was apparently looking to dispose of one of theirs, so I picked it up, and
It was sitting on top of a garbage can.
I cleaned it off.
We got a couple of those.
Yeah, so there's the two.
Scavenger.
We were talking about wearing them in Vegas and just having like 10 of us walking around with those on, but that never happened. That would have been awesome.
Oh my god, we should have done that.
That would have been a good idea. That would have been a lot of fun.
Ever.
For people who attended H1Z1 panels, there was this H1Z1 beanie, and I had an H1Z1 player panel. I think it was the only H1Z1 player panel this year, which I guess was kind of a bold thing to try because the game's not really out yet. But Senor Blanco and I threw that down, and it's up on my YouTube channel. Need to probably do a little bit of fine tuning with it, but yeah. Poro, you got one too, because
I got what?
one of the H1Z1 beanies.
I wanted
Yeah,
one.
I don't know where it is. It says H1Z1 on it, guys.
Yeah.
It's black.
And then here's the
There's
hats.
a picture of it on Twitter.
So there was a, let's see. Of course, the shirt, which I'm wearing here. It's got a little representation of all the different games on it. But if you want to see a better picture of it, they've got it up on the interwebs in different places. These hats were for sale, but I didn't know that until I got there, so I couldn't really take orders for people. This little landmark post-it card. You can barely see the logo.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's very faint. They also gave out feathers and bottles on the swag table. I guess if you went over there, they just gave them out to you.
Oh, neat. Yeah, I didn't even notice that, but I've already got enough of them. We got something from the Landmark Explorers group. I don't think that was in the bag, but I'm just kind of going over stuff. The Make War Stories exclusive gold gun for PlanetSide 2. Anyone who made a purchase gets one of these EverQuest Next Landmark notebook things that are from last year, but that's fine. Yep, the Zombie Smasher. We got some 10-ton hammers from 10-ton Hammer.
This isn't inflated right now, but it's a inflatable hammer.
Yeah, they're pretty neat. Most elusive slag. Oh yes, the legendary toxin sticker. Well, I'll pull up the roll here in just a moment. I actually I saw that Kayla from the Evercast show had some very interesting chopsticks or whatever they were in her hair, and I was like, hey, what are those? And they're lightsaber chopsticks, and apparently she got them from Think Geek and got a few extra in case anybody thought they were awesome. So I got, oddly enough, even though there's no more Star Wars franchises from SOE anymore, I'm still getting Star Wars swag. So
yeah, at the pool party, there were the hammers were all over the place.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Thrown inside the jacuzzi.
Little flyer for Able Gamers. They were there. I got a bunch of cards from Extra Life. These I got some of these from E3 as well. The PlanetSide 2 PlayStation 4 analog stick covers. They're just to cover your knobs, I guess.
Hey guys, what's going on? Talon, Celeste.
She's not in the channel. She can hear.
Talon said she can hear us.
Cool deal. And Lethality Group had this interesting little placard on their tables, so grabbed one. We hung out with them during the opening banquet area, or the what's it called? Opening keynote. Yeah, the reception keynote thing. So that was fun. We were able to sit so close that I was able to get some good heckling in.
Oh yeah, that was fun times.
Yeah.
I didn't need to do any. He had it covered.
You know it. I'm all about the heckling. And then there were some other shirts and stuff. There was the Landmark, the official Landmark wiki from Gamepedia, and they had shirts for everybody. So got one of those. I didn't get one of the 10-ton hammer shirts from the pool party, but Skylatron said that they will probably be getting another run here to maybe hook some people up or do something. So I may yet get one. We'll see. These folks.
We got a couple of those.
Oh, nice. Expo here was at the party at Blondie's, which was kind of a loud and very tightly quartered dive bar sort of place. But hey, it's Vegas. It's a sports bar. What do you expect?
That's why Omid has no voice.
Yeah, it is. And that's the only place.
Every single place they decided to hang out, they were blasting music. So you want to hang out somewhere you can talk, and you pick all of those bars. So Omid has nobody to blame but himself. Just remember that.
Yeah.
My mom's like, you're not supposed to socialize, you're supposed to drink. Like, are we all supposed to sit there in a circle and drink and just stare at each other real hard?
Yeah, for the most part. And then there's this this fancy Landmark shirt that shows the three different, well, basically the symbols they use for the Founders Packs, but the different symbols for Landmark. Yeah, it's a pretty cool shirt. And I decided, since I didn't really have a Landmark-specific shirt to wear on the show here, I'd get one. So I did. And that's most of what I've got for the loot. The only other things, I didn't do one of the green screen pictures. I didn't quite fit that in the schedule, so Oh well.
Yeah, we thought they were gonna be up longer, and then they took them down Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what? Why did it take them down now? Should take them down on Sunday, but
because I think that's a third-party company, or it might be a third-party company, or it might just be the one to get the equipment going early. Now there are some other stuff for attending. There are some places to you could potentially. Oh yeah, the EverQuest Next cards that you got there. Those are pretty cool. So there's one place that I went to last year, and I went to the year before, and I went to this year, and I realized even with the 20% off with the badge, it's still not worth it. I've just got no love for the Earl of Sandwich. They just don't do sandwiches right. I'm sorry.
Really? We were gonna go there, but the line was ridiculous, so we're like, no.
The go-go dancers are terrible, Max.
Yeah.
Ooh. Go-go dancers are what?
Terrible.
At the hot bar?
Yeah, he said the heart bar compensates somewhat with the go-go dancers. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly, Sog.
One cool go-go dancer. She was like a gamer, and everyone was tipping her. Even Brass just put 20 in her. In their stocking. It was fun.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, I have to agree with you, Sog. Pin-up pizza for the win. The food comes out faster. You know, it's pizza by the slice. A giant, literally this big of a slice. Like this is kind of the wedge, and my hand doesn't even represent the arc of the crust. It is awesome. I definitely
hot dogs.
Yeah, and it's I actually didn't try that one. I still haven't tried theirs yet. I figure Sog does, though. Sog's a sausage connoisseur, or a hot dog connoisseur, apparently. So
I'm not going there. Okay.
No, the actual food, not like
I know.
No innuendos implied.
Yeah, it was crazy. What I got a burrito with 3 hot dogs, cheese, bacon, and chili. It was crazy. I couldn't eat it all. It's so filling.
So
that's excessive.
I wouldn't say it's worth the price, but the lobsicle was kind of an interesting novelty. There was a place called Lobster Me, and they had various seafood related stuff. Their clam chowder fries I thought were pretty good, but the lobsicle is basically a lobster tail deep fried on a stick, and you get some butter and lemon to squeeze on it. And yeah, I mean, maybe if it was like $2 or $3 less, it would be worth it. But I think it was a little overpriced for the amount of food I actually got. And Poro, you got something from there that you weren't as happy with, wasn't that the case? Or
the lobster place?
Yeah, or did you like the lobster fries?
The lobster itself was good. It was just like fried lobster with beer battered fries. But I didn't realize they were beer battered. So I was just like, why do these fries taste like beer?
Oh yeah, Zach and Levin. So we're gonna have a feature coming up here pretty soon when you've got your build kind of in a complete state, or I'm not sure exactly 100% how it's gonna work. Just when it's at a place where it's kind of good. Maybe it's when you actually make a tag for it or update the tag for it. It will kind of take the mesh itself and make that kind of what you're going to see as the distant version of it with a level of detail. Because right now, if you've got one Lumicite voxel in just the right place, just a 1x1x1, at the long distance level of detail, it'll show up as if it was a big, huge part of the structure, just because the level of detail right now is a little on the wonky side. So they're working on improving upon that, so that way you'll be able to see a better representation of what builds look like from further away, and that'll be really nice. I'm really excited for that. Yeah, Petrie, the beer battered onion rings I thought were pretty good. I like those. We ate at Burger, and I don't know, they were pretty good. That place is pretty good.
Twin Peaks has some great
fried pickles.
Oh my god,
so good.
amazing.
Where is that place?
It was in the mall. I got lost in that place.
We had to go outside and then go up a set of escalators too.
Okay.
To the left.
Gotcha. I'll have to check into that next time. That sounds good. Yeah, and I can't remember, it was like a burger with like duck bacon or something. I can't remember. It was an interesting burger, but it was damn good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Bacon.
Druid's Fire was there. Do you remember what it was? I think you had the same thing. Fish tacos. Not sure. I didn't try any places with fish tacos. For the grand banquet this year, I liked a lot of the food. The barbecued brisket probably didn't need as much barbecue sauce, and apparently some people got some pink chicken, so that's definitely something that needs to be resolved for next year. Desserts were pretty decent. That banana thing was kind of overly banana for me. Their themed drink, the Dark Elf Dagger, was just kind of like a whole big old glass of sweet, and not that big neither. It was good. I think Rave was saying that the spiced rum was the thing that saved it, because otherwise it was just way too sweet.
Well, that's all that was in it for alcohol, was spiced rum.
Yeah.
It was juice.
It was juice. And
grenadine.
Grenadine. That's it.
And also, depending on what station you went to, some bartenders, they would pour an even shot and pour that in and then get the rest of the stuff. Then there was another one where they poured the shot, got it most of the way there, and then kept pouring. They put the shot down, and then they finally put the bottle down. And they probably put 2 shots in there. It's like, yeah, thanks, buddy. So I think, if you went, I think it was if you were looking towards the stage, the station on the right was the one to go to, apparently. Yeah, good stuff. See you later, Yad. Alright. Any other thoughts on food stuff? Because we kind of finished talking about swag and started talking about food. Any restaurants in particular that any of you went to that you thought was just amazing?
I'm trying to think the name of it. We went after the wedding. We all went out to this ice cream place. It was like an alcohol and ice cream place. It was a weird combination. It was an awesome combination, but I can't remember what it was called. But it was pretty good.
Sugar Factory?
No, Sugar Factory was great too, though. Sugar Factory was awesome.
You mean that Caesar's Palace place?
No.
Before that?
Yeah,
we went in Paris.
What was that?
There was more than one.
Yeah. There was one in the mall, and there was one outside next to the Eiffel Tower, or close to the Eiffel Tower.
I'm confused. I thought we were talking about the ice cream place. Now we're talking about Sugar Factory. Although Sugar Factory has ice cream too. And a lot of candy.
Yes.
Candy.
Yes.
They had a drink at the Sugar Factory. It was a giant bowl of, I don't know what it was, some kind of alcohol, and they just threw all kinds of candies in it, like lollipops and candy necklaces. I just saw someone carrying it, and I was like, "What the hell is in there?" There was also we went to Fat Tuesdays. You can buy 100 ounces of daiquiri for $36 in a gigantic jug, and then refill it for $25. I didn't know about it until after the fact. We were there the last day. We got one, and next year I will definitely be getting one of those and just keep refilling it.
I think I've got to get out there even earlier or something next year, because there were already people starting to party it up even on Wednesday, and we didn't get in there till Thursday. So definitely got to get there, and I guess getting some of the early drinking out of the way, so it's not like, oh, got to catch up to everyone else during the rest of the show.
Yeah, Druid's Fire's got its serendipity. That's what it's called.
Yeah, that's right. That was Serendipity 3, that's right. I thought it was not in Caesar's Palace, but kind of in that region of it. And I think it at least said that on the receipt somewhere. I don't know. Wednesday is the day to arrive. Probably is. I know media people have some extra time out there. In fact, I can't remember which day, if they're even out there on Monday. Druid's Fire, could you confirm one way or another? Is press and media out there like on Wednesday or on Monday, or what day of the week are you starting to roll in for stuff? Wednesday. Oh, okay. Get the keynotes a day early. Nice.
I'm not Canadian. I'm from Boston. Well, south of Boston, anyways.
Yeah, I was about to say, Diggs, you're a linguist. How can't you tell a Canadian from a Bostonian accent? But oh well. I'll just chalk it up to the audio fidelity. Anyway, so food. I think that's oh, and there was there's a yard house out there. I didn't realize how much variation each one had from one to the next. And you had the sampler. It was kind of funny. Everyone who tried the sampler seemed like 5 of the beers were good, and there was just this one specific one. It was an IPA triple hybrid that everyone, it was the last one they drank because it apparently was terrible.
Yeah, it was not that great. I mean, obviously I drank it, but it was the last one. It was me and who else? A couple other people got it. Yeah, and just couldn't drink. It wasn't that great.
Yeah.
Everything else was awesome though in that sampler. It was great. And yeah, my father lives in Connecticut. What part of Connecticut do you live in? Mass border. Okay.
Oh, I've got one other interesting thing to show here. Omid had these things, these Onod coins there. It says, in Omid we trust air. Now,
One Onod.
Yep. EQ Landmark 2014. And flip it around, and you can see it's got his little contact info on the back there. So that's kind of funny. That's a really nice sort of touch. It feels like not balsa wood, but the next lightest, weakest kind of wood after that. It's or next heaviest, I should say. But yeah, that's pretty cool. That's I like those. Let's see, was there anybody else interesting? Got, like I said, cards from Team Extra Life, Josh Augustine, Jeremy Soul, a few other folks. Oh, it's Murda, Loco2525, another streamer. I think she's more like the survival games and stuff. Apparently at some point I met the head of ESRB, which is pretty interesting, but yeah.
Mojo Kitty, apparently they're going to be putting the rest of the Fippy Dark Paws on the Jinx website eventually. I'm not sure when. That's what I heard anyways. Because when I had asked about buying another one, when Shauna lost hers, or Reanazra lost hers, they said that they already packed them up and that they would be on the website eventually, so stay tuned.
Oh, that's why he was there, Tanlin. I was wondering, because I met him at the Blondie's Dive Bar at that party there, but I wasn't sure if he was just out there because he's an SOE fan or what the deal was. But that's cool. Good to know. Yeah, Fippy Dark Paw, I could definitely see a lot of sales of Fippies, especially after that Player Got Talent guy. Does anybody remember his name? I unfortunately
Jethal?
Yes.
It's Jethal if you want to go tell him how much you liked it.
Yeah, no, he had an awesome performance. There were a lot of really good performances, but he took that song and Fippy-ized it so damn well. And he performed it really well too. So there was something else I was going to mention. Oh yes, the caps, the beer caps. Those came from the Dwarven Ale and the Ogre Swill. So those were 2 beers that were brewed specifically by Riley's Brewery, which I remember meeting the owner, I guess Riley himself, at the Heart Bar last year when getting some drinks with Brass, and I didn't realize. Yeah, he totally threw down the 2 beer challenge, It was the Dwarven Ale was I would say an American style or a Western style pale ale, and good for what it was. Had proper kind of hops and proper malt content and alcohol balance. Solid beer. I personally liked the Ogre Swill more. I'm partial to British style ales like ESBs and British Pale Ale, British IPA, and that was definitely what it was no mistake, a British IPA. And the thing that's characteristic of it more than anything, not just the kind of grassy, weedy hops in it, but also the fact that it has this kind of malty breakfast cereal kind of taste that is indicative that Maris Otter, which is a name of a malt, was used for the brewing. Yes, Maris Otter. I don't know where they got the name, but yeah, it was. I liked the Ogre Swill more between the two, but I know the British style is maybe less popular to folks, so I could see why the Dwarven Ale won by apparently a fair amount. So
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the Ogre Swill myself. I didn't mind the Dwarven, but I had drank way too much the night before, and I was not feeling the alcohol that night. So maybe if I had been feeling a little bit better, I could have been able to vote on one or the other a little bit better. Because the night before, Brass was in the Heart Bar, and I drank quite a bit. It was a fun night, though.
it happens. Yeah, I would say I only paid for about 10% of my drink, so I was really happy about that. This whole streaming thing's starting to pay off in one way or another. Too many convos with the same people on different chat options. Deal with it, Krona. Yeah, original Beetlebub. They were the actual caps on the bottles were the ones that had the logos on the inside, and I didn't even realize that until after, like the day or so after. It's like, oh, I should have looked under the caps. I usually don't do that because usually there's nothing or some silly gimmicky thing. But no, those would have been pretty cool souvenirs to keep with.
I would have loved to kept those, but they open the bottle for you and throw the cap away without. I didn't know until just recently when I saw them on Twitter.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh well.
It was crazy. Those beers are huge, and they just for one drink ticket they would fill 2 cups. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It was pretty good. I mean, it, low moderate alcohol. It wasn't like they were in the 8 or 9% range or anything. I would imagine Ogre Swill would be like a 9% that had a really rough ferment. It's just like tough as hell to drink. But I guess they depicted ogres and dwarves differently than I would have. In terms of brewing. Honestly, when I think of a dwarf drinking beer, I imagine just a thick, hearty stout.
They wanted people to actually like it. I'm guessing that's what happened.
Well, then why a British IPA? That's like really obscure to American palates.
Who knows?
Oh well. Yes, you are Malator on everything. That is right. He's going to Malator on everything. No, never mind. Bad. Okay. So was there? Let's see. Was there other? I mean, there's a lot to talk about. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in particular that needs to be mentioned.
I would say the Storybrooks demo was pretty awesome.
Oh yes, the Storybricks demo. So this is more specific to EverQuest Next and not really Landmark, though there will be an application for Storybricks and Landmark. The demo, if you want to know about that, is either the re-recording that they're going to do of the Storybricks demo, or if you can track down the Storybricks demo from the AI conference in Vienna a few weeks back. That really shows more of the granular kind of micro scale, versus the demo that we got at SOE Live is really more demonstrating the macro scale, the region versus region, rather than interactions between individuals. So that Storybricks demo is awesome. It started off with the first phase they showed was kobolds in this area trying to build up their empire, and they started slowly spreading north and spreading north. And then the Dark Elves started getting involved, and because the Dark Elves are trying to build their empire, they just swept down and obliterated the kobolds, and it was not really a challenge. They probably could have run the simulation 100 times, and the Dark Elves still would have won every time, because kobolds are weak, and they lack a strong will. So,
Notate candle.
what was that?
You notate candle. Did they ever say during that if you're gonna be able to help? Well, like if that actually happened, if you'd be able to help the kobolds?
You know, that's a good point. I'm wondering if there is any way we'd be able to help the kobolds, whether it's like, cutting down trees and harvesting supplies in the Dark Elf area that kind of interacts and interferes with their supply lines, or if there's any way we'd actually be able to actively go to the kobolds and just drop off materials that they could use.
Well, you could probably just kill the Dark Elves too. I mean,
Potentially.
they say you can be on any side. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. And, if the Dark Elves remember that we kick their asses, then whatever. Who needs Dark Elves anyway? A bunch of jerks, really. And that's actually demonstrated in the second part of that, or the third part of that demo, which is or I think it was actually the second part of the Storybricks demo, where the Dark Elves are starting to spread their way into Kithakor, into the forest, because they want to sap energy from the Dryads and from nature itself, and use that to power their shadow wells or whatever, so they can get more dark energy and keep on spreading and building up their empire. So they go out and start, wrecking nature like a bunch of jerks who really don't care about anything. And as the demonstration goes, when they get far enough with it and the Dryads are beaten back enough, the undead forces start pushing in. So then it becomes a three-way battle between the Dark Elves, the Dryads, and the Undead. And if I remember correctly, the first simulation the Dryads survived, but the second simulation they got defeated. So, the whole Storybricks thing and how all the interactions work out, it's not so much that it can be different every time, so much as the consequences will always be done in a different way every time. There's no way that you'll be able to have the exact same results even if you go about things in the exact same way across two servers at the exact same time. They'll still do things completely differently. So that's something I'm really excited for. I love, procedural games and games where there's content that's not static but it's completely dynamic, and that's the advantage we're going to be able to get with Storybricks, is that there's going to be completely dynamic engagements going on every server, different things throughout the entire course of the game, so much that, being somebody that's documenting the game, all you need to be is a live streamer and just refer to things by fancy names. It's like, okay, we've started this event, me and my buddies are going to go start, towards this area here. This is, our personal campaign to kick the Dark Elves out of Kithakor, for whatever, whatever the example would be. And that's their story of their interaction with the world, whether they document it with live streaming or whether they don't document it at all. It'll also be, remembered by the entire game world through the Rosong. Now, Rosong, Rohsong. I didn't know the spelling. Yeah, capital R. Didn't know the spelling until they first finally showed it, the text, the name of it, because Rosong, what the hell is a Rosong? So it's this book. It's apparently a sentient book that was imbued power from, I can't remember who it was that they said. Then when they accessed the book, it pretty much made it made the Rosong's book itself sentient, and made it so mirror copies of it could exist that everybody could have. So basically, what the Rosong book is, it's a journal of all of your interactions. It's your personal maps, your personal guidebook. If you want to know where you need to go or what you need to do to try to advance one of your classes or try to learn a new class, you'll be able to find your answers there. So
I don't think it's not gonna tell you like if you say to yourself, "I want to unlock the Necromancer class." I don't think you're gonna be able to just, oh, let me ask the Rosong. That's gonna tell me. I think it's gonna suggest things to you, but there's still gonna be a lot that you have to figure out on your own, and possibly things that are gonna change, and you might not be able to get the class the same way every time.
can't wait for myself to start sculpting for cosplay. Where's the lore located on the Rosong? They talked about it in the panel then. I can't remember who I was talking about that had even more details on it. It was, I think, during or after the dev brunch that someone was giving more of the detail. And I can't remember if it was related to previous AQ1 or 2 lore that was related to something similar, or if it was something completely new for this. But the long and short of it is basically a sentient book that allows us to kind of find our way in the world and find clues to the next thing that we want to try to mess around with. So that's really, really cool to have that sort of a guide. I'm excited for it. Do you two have any thoughts on it?
I think they mentioned something about it. Maybe creating a mobile app for it, which would be really awesome. Having that everywhere you go, or just having it in your hand to look at.
That's really cool. They definitely said they want to have things to distract people from the real work they do in being able to see what's going on in the EverQuest Next world. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Rosong will eventually have probably a mobile and web version. So anybody that wants to check in and see where their buddies are doing, or try to plan their next move when they get home, will have that as an option. So that should be a lot of fun. Oh, and the other thing they talked about is your worlds, the whole, or your deeds in the world will be recorded and remembered. The whole life of consequence thing, they definitely mean it, and it's not just things you do, that you are able to walk away from, but it sounds like a lot of times it's things that you don't walk away from that will be just as important. If you and 20 other people are the only ones helping defend the Dryads against the undead and the Dark Elves, well, even if the Dryads are beaten down, word will be spread far and wide of this. People will remember you for being one of those brave 20 heroes that helped stand toe to toe with the Dryads and try to resist the encroachment of Dark Elves and undead alike. And you lose the entire thing, the Dryads get defeated, that's fine. The fact that you stuck in there and stuck with your guns and even died in battle there and gave it your all, you will get way more respect from NPCs than if you come in, kick a few Dark Elves in the butt, have them kick you in the butt and be like, oh man, this is too tough, and then run away. You're not going to get nearly the same kind of credit for it. But likewise, the Dark Elves will remember it too, and some of them might look on you favorably because you were still, you're ultimately trying to protect nature, but a lot of them might be like, no, you oppose the will of the Dark Elves, therefore we don't like you as much anymore. But they were also saying distance can be a thing. If an event happens in one part of the world, and you go completely to the other side of the world, people don't even know you over there, so they won't really be able to speak of your deeds and have reverence or vilify you for those actions.
So the thing with the Rosong, we didn't hear this 100%, but I think what's going to happen is it's not going to in any way make you follow the suggested path. I think the reason they're putting it in is because they don't want people to go into the game and be like, hey, there's no people with exclamation points over their heads, what do I do? And then just quit playing. They want to be able to draw you in somehow and then have the rails that some people will need. Probably a lot of the people sitting here now that are really interested in the game aren't going to need that, and they're just going to go find their own things to do because they know that that stuff is out there. So if you're one of those people, I think you're going to be able to just not pay attention to what the Rosong is telling you. Maybe it'll give you helpful suggestions still. So I would not worry too much about that.
Yeah. It's not going to entirely replace the wiki, though it's going to give you a lot of information. And it sounds like as you interact with creatures more and you know more about them, that you'll be able to fill in the data in your row song with that too. So if there's certain materials that can be only harvested from certain plants at certain times of the day, that's the sort of stuff that as you do it more, you'll be able to have recorded to the row song, so that way you don't have to look it up in wikis like, man, when do I find the dew of the night shiny flower or whatever? And it's like, oh, well, yeah, you have to go exactly at midnight, and you have to kill 10 enemies nearby and feed it their blood or something. And that's how you get this epic, crazy crafting item that you can only get under those circumstances. Because then, yeah, it's not because the item is particularly difficult to get so much as there's the time component and the killing things component required to actually collect it. So I could see them putting that sort of thing in, and then you might not necessarily get that data until you've collected enough of that flower that it tells you, oh well, if you try to do these certain things, then maybe you can collect one at night and get the full powered version or the specific component off of it that you're looking for. So that's definitely something that could be another use for the row song beyond just kind of your guide for where to go and what to do a little bit. Is there a reason for players to die a bunch of times? Probably not.
Yeah, I think that was asked, but one of the devs was like, "That's a good question," and I don't think they really elaborated on it much in terms of lore. They may eventually, but I don't think they ever said anything one way or the other.
Caledorian, the answer is no. We do not have any new anything this week. They're just keeping on making sure things are going to hopefully be as stable as possible with the update next week, because they're only going to have a day to get everything up and running for PAX after the patch goes in. So, hey, it's Foo. So Locke and Foo are the other lovely married couple that got married at SOE Live. They didn't do it right in front of all of us, but that's totally fine. They got out there and did it early and had some fun. It's just a couple of lovely folks. I'm sure you folks have probably heard it from me before, but I'll say it again. I really miss debating with Locke. That man is just such a great person to chat with and debate things with. And it was a lot of fun. We were able to do a panel together. It was Shaylin, Phantom X, Locke, Tobran, Poro, and I absolutely loved it. That was a great panel. It was about social media and kind of the way games are marketing and being designed these days, with live streaming in mind rather than the traditional magazine ads and conventions and stuff as the only ways to show things off. So yeah, but getting back to the subject there, congrats Foo, congrats Locke, you two are awesome. It was great hanging out with y'all the weekend there too.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was amazing.
Best time. Next year, we're going to have a dual anniversary party. It's going to be awesome.
Everyone's invited.
I'm not going to say the same thing I said last time when that was brought up. I'll just keep that to myself. You know what it was. Anyway, oh yeah, I forgot to mention earlier with those launchers, something I'm planning to do, and anybody who's still working on the Karen stuff that hasn't already torn things down to make PvP arenas, I strongly suggest that you do this as well. Set up the launchers so that way they're embedded in the spars, and you just step on one place on the ground, and your character will just kind of jump from launcher to launcher to launcher in a spiral going all the way up to the top, because that's what a Karen would do. They could go up the laddery things or whatever if they want to. But no, they're Karens. They'll just jump from spot to spot. Karen arenas would be pretty cool too. But I think that that would be a really good way to kind of communicate the Karen style of what they would actually do to get into their own home versus the scaffolding and everything that humans and smaller, less nimble races would use to get up there if they're being allowed to visit. Zubei, any thoughts on that? I thought you were about to say something there.
And what I was just gonna say that I think an awesome idea would be you see the floating islands, but make them so far apart that the only way to get to the other islands is to teleport.
Oh, that'd be great.
I think Dave said it's 195 voxels is the furthest that you can put the teleporters without them zoning you.
Can make them, I don't know, above each other so you can jump up there. You have to teleport to it. I mean, you can use a grappling hook, but what they say every 10 seconds you can use it, so you'd be waiting there for a while.
I was just saying, for the benefit of the chat, we talked to Dave, and he said it's 195 voxels. You can teleport further than that, but it'll do like a loading screen, I guess.
Nice, nice.
And was reading you also.
Very cool. Well, now that I see Nuber and Tentman here, I can officially thank you guys. You guys did an awesome job trying to get us video footage and stuff. Of course, having been there, I didn't need to see the videos a second time, but I still tuned in and looked back at some details and some of the images and stuff. So thank you guys ever so much. It's really awesome that you guys were filming stuff the entire time there. And I feel like a jerk saying that and then not like, thanking Poro over here. I know I've thanked you enough, but you did an awesome job like tweeting the hell out of the entire event. I wish the internet was more stable for you because you would have been able to do twice as much.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of times where I could not even send regular text tweets because it would be like, nope, we can't do that, and then a lot of times the picture ones wouldn't go through, and it was just terrible.
Yes, Poro is a Twitter source. I agree, Nuber. Yeah, I remember that with the pictures. There was like, I remember it was like you were stalled out on Hug 17. You were trying to, tweet out 17 and 18, and it just wouldn't send, like no matter where we went.
Yeah.
By the way, Poro was doing a thing where every 5 hugs, and it was offset anytime somebody already had the item.
It was devs. Devs were hugging me, and I wouldn't give them anything.
the flight suits, and then I believe, did you ever get through the Trailblazer pack, or did you?
Nope, I still have the Trailblazer.
Just somebody needed to give Poro a hug, but no. That should have been at like 200 by the end of it or something. My goodness, but the official count was what, 24?
It was 21.
21.
I think Omid was the last one. Because he got us to the Trailblazer.
Oh, right. E-hugs don't count. If e-hugs counted, there would have been a lot more flight suits given out.
Yeah. One person actually got a choice of whatever item they wanted. So it was, I think, 2 flight suits and that, or 1 flight suit and that. I don't even know. Druid's Fire won the first one, and she didn't even know it was happening.
Nice. Yeah, well, isn't that awesome? You just give someone a hug and you win. It's like...
Yeah, when Corona tweeted that my account should have been called things that would be pervy if Omid said them or something, I was crying.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I could not stop laughing.
Yeah. Alright, so we got about 10-15 minutes more to go here. So, I'd love to hear more from the two of you. Is there any particular subjects that you wanted to talk about that we haven't covered yet?
Not really. I mean, we've gone over pretty much everything that I can think of. What else was there? I mean, there's epic weapons that will be dropped eventually. It's pretty sweet. In the chest.
Yep.
You know what we didn't talk about? the new building interface and the talk about a voxel editor and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. So we saw a mock-up that a player did of a potential voxel editor, and pretty much the idea would be just being able to adjust the proportions of the voxels in a very simple way, rather than having to use reactors and all sorts of funky techniques to be able to push the vectors to the specific places that you want. I'm really excited for that, and I know a lot of people also will be as well, especially when we really get our hands on it. We can really start making some crazy shapes. Was there anything in particular that you were other than the fact that the UI is going to be a lot smaller and tidier? Was there anything in particular that you folks thought was like, groundbreaking with the new UI, or just the fact that it's more tidy is nice?
Yeah, it looks a lot more clean, I guess.
Okay.
Pretty nice. You talking about landmines? Did we? Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did talk
What
about
was the key that they said, like, when you press it, it, like, reorients the prop or something?
Oh yeah, that's P, and that's already in the game. Basically, if you press P, it'll toggle between the prop being 90 degrees upright from the ground, or wherever the ground's at. Even if you're at a slope, it'll still be straight up and down. And then if you press P again, it will actually kind of lock to the contour of the ground. So definitely
So what happened
helps.
was they asked at the beginning of that panel, or sometime during that panel, how many of you know what the P key does when you're building, and like nobody knew.
Somebody raised their
So
hand.
yeah, so that's the reason for the new interface. They're gonna demystify all of those different functions and stuff. Like I remember when mirroring could only be done by using the V key, and I had no idea. So that first sculpture I did that's now on Player Studio, I didn't even use mirroring for it.
They,
That's decade.
I think they also clarified that holding control when you place something does a delete placement instead of an add placement. I don't know if that functionality is in right now, but that's coming with the whole, not necessarily paste with air, but kind of the inverse pasting with a paste board. I believe we'll be able to do that with all sorts of stuff, and hopefully we'll even be able to do that with a line tool, because I'd really love to be able to cut angles out of stuff instead of just being able to apply angled lines wherever I need to. Oh yeah, palettes. Palettes are the other thing. Instead of having to sort through the material picker, you can set up a custom palette, so that way whenever you want to work with a certain set of materials, let's say I'm doing a Karen structure, I'm going to use the plaster, the red bricks, kind of a dirt blending material, so I can give the look of the walls kind of wearing away and showing the brick behind it a little bit. Some sort of heavier stone brick material down below, and then all the different types of wood that I'm going to be using for the build. Maybe one or two metals as well. So the idea with that is, if I really need materials available to me and work quickly between one or another, let's say I'm doing a timed build, or I just don't want to waste a lot of time, we'll actually have those features and be able to set whatever materials that we want to work with. So
Do you remember them talking about how some things really mess up frame rate and are inefficient, and that they're gonna put possibly some kind of rating system or like frame rate killing meter, so that you know like how much performance issues your stuff is gonna cause?
I think so. I don't remember the specific details, but something that kind of lets you know how much things are overlapping and how much you've got a lot of stuff interacting in an area is probably a feature. I feel like maybe they did mention about that, because they talked in the past about, with the Dark Elf structures, the stuff for people to submit to the contest, to make sure that the radius of the light orbs are not interfering with each other, and the radius of lights in general aren't actually crossing over each other, or cross over as minimally as possible, because every time lights cross over each other, it's another set of dynamic lighting and shadows that has to be processed at once. And when you have it overlap enough in an area, it can really slow things down. I almost wish I was able to tell my graphics card to be stupid for a moment so I could see what it's like being on a lower end machine, and really being able to feel those spots of inefficiency. Because for me, it's an all or nothing thing. Either the game's running or it's not at this point.
Yeah, mine isn't that awesome, which is sad, because this was like an $800 tower, which I know is not, the highest end, but it was an improvement for my laptop. And when I'm playing normally with some of my settings on high and some on medium, I'm at like 20 frames per second. If I go to Angel Bay, where my little shop is, I go down to like 15, 14, 13.
Gotcha.
They talked about optimizing, right? They said that they were going to devote some engineers to optimizing now, and that multi-threading is coming, right?
Yeah. And it's about time. I'm really excited for that. I think a lot of the optimizations and a lot of the things that we've been waiting on for making things run a little bit better was probably waiting for first having all of the features that they want to show off at SOE Live and PAX and stuff going forward here, and then definitely taking the time to make things more optimized so we can let more people in, because when the open beta hits, they're going to want it as optimized as possible at that state, so the flood of people coming in aren't all just bouncing off the wall of computer inefficiency or program inefficiency and just aren't able to get in.
We really need to start tweeting Dave with Dave Please more. And we need to tweet Michael Mann with ManFan.
Michael Mann said it was ready, but Felgon said no during the stream. That doesn't really help then.
I would go with what Felgon says. He managed to avoid us the entire con.
Yeah, I saw him once in Blondie's dive bar, and I was like, hey, I've got someone I want to talk to. And then I realized, nah, I'll probably see him somewhere else. So we took off because he was sitting at the bar, and I'd have to fight through a bunch of people to get there. Nope. We had search parties going on no less than 2 days trying to find him, and just no luck.
You're almost at 900 followers.
Nice.
I'm actually up in the mid 400s now, thanks to you guys.
Awesome. Very, very cool. You got a bunch of followers on Twitter, didn't you?
Oh, I doubled my Twitter followers.
That's so awesome.
I'm almost at 400, which is I'm at 400 now. So that's 200 more than I had.
That's awesome. The double up.
Sweet.
Very, very cool. Alright, so
Do you guys want to talk about, there's Play It Forward and Extra Life and stuff?
yeah, so Extra Life, of course, does the marathon every, I want to say like August 25th, or not August, October 25th or something.
October.
And it's a 24-hour marathon to raise money for local hospitals and medical centers, basically helping kids that are, sick and in need of help. So it's pretty cool. I believe Brass said that she's working on building up an SOE Live team, or an SOE Extra Life team or whatever. So that
Yeah, I actually have a team too if you want to join that. I think you can be on more than one. And any donations that go to you will also count toward the team's total.
cool. Good to know. Yeah,
So you can do the donating at any time between now and the event and after the event. But on October 25th, they're doing a 24-hour event thing for Extra Life, and it's cool because when you sign up for it, you get to choose a local or you get to choose any hospital you want for the money to actually go to. It's not like it goes to them and they decide these things. You decide where your money goes. So I picked Albany Medical Children's Hospital, which is very, very close to me. And I have a team now. I'm going to post the link in chat and pimp that.
Sure, sounds good. So that's what's going on. There was, where was it? There was Extra Life. We just talked. Able Gamers. Able Gamers was the one I meant to say. And they're, sorry, what was that?
I was gonna say in the military.
Oh yeah, the Able Gamers was there. Military Gamers was there.
Yeah, they did a reception for some of the veterans that were there, I heard.
Yeah. And I know with Able Gamers, they had not only cake, which we had to pass because we were going elsewhere, but that panel was about basically trying to be more inclusive with gamers with disabilities, and it's something that's both on the side of the community and people who are, you know, trying to be supportive of others, as well as on the side of developers to really emphasize the need for games that are able to be played by as many people as possible. So that's something SOE has always been good about. They've always tried to do what they can to support people with various disabilities, be it anything from simple UI color palette swaps for people with color deficiency to I believe much more advanced stuff than that. I unfortunately don't know as much about the subject, but people have been able to pull off some pretty amazing stuff in SOE games. You know, with various challenges kind of hindering them. So I'm really glad that it's something that SOE has been continuing with.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of different suggestions on the forums for things they could do to make their games more accessible. So if you want to go support that stuff, we know now that the devs read the forums. We talked to Dave about that and to some other devs and asked, you know, how much do you actually pay attention? They pay a lot of attention. One suggestion was about the VoIP service. Pretty much they wanted to be able to go both ways. Like, you can type and it'll do text to voice, and you can speak and it'll do voice to text.
That'd be really nice. Yeah, Ren Falcon. The update, you can put a lowercase n there. It's not the next update. It's the update coming up is on the 27th. We're not getting a next. We're not getting an EverQuest next update. You
got my hopes up.
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah. What? Where'd you get that?
The difference of a capital letter. The next update.
Oh, man.
It'd be funny if we logged in one day and instead of saying landmark, it says EverQuest next, and we're just like, oh, what?
I could see them doing that just for April Fool's Day, just to screw with everybody.
Alright, guys, Dave is a giant troll. We sat with him for the dev brunch, and we found out, like, just how much of a troll he really is. You have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if he had free reign, he would be trolling you guys all the time. It wouldn't have just been, like, surprise fall damage. It would have been, like, surprise fall damage and landmines wherever you want.
That'd be awesome. I would laugh a lot. No, I ever heard that they were thinking about wanting to eventually, when the time comes, this is distant future, obviously, to see how the like AI works in terms of the valley calls in Landmark. I'm not sure how that worked, but that's why I heard that they might want to try to test them out in Landmark, which would be interesting. See how that goes.
Yeah, they're probably going to have to try it out in Landmark first, just because you know, that's where all the functionality is going to be set up, and that's where they're going to be doing a lot of the stuff to kind of build up for the game. Death penalty, they've said death has teeth, but I don't think they actually have specified yet.
There's not going to be a death penalty yet.
Now,
You go run back into the cave to get a corpse.
Procedural caves, yeah, that'll be fun. I can't remember. Did they say if currency is coming in on the 27th, or are we still waiting on that?
I don't think it is, but we did talk to Darren about what it's going to be like.
Yeah, it's pretty pretty cool.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
For those of you who didn't see the tweets, Darren told us that the plan for currency right now is that eventually they're going to let you trade your resources in for the currency at different rates based on not necessarily how rare the material is, but how dangerous it is to get it, which I guess would make it some materials more rare. And you use that to pay your upkeep instead of copper. So that's really helpful.
Yeah, because
My guess is when they add in more weapons and stuff like that to find, that's when they're going to add the economy stuff.
Different tiers.
what's up?
Oh, there we go. Man, I'm trying to keep this unmuted and muted because I don't want to have double voices. But anyways, did they said they were talking about the teleporters from the different tiers?
Oh, yeah.
Eventually?
Yeah, the ley lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, go ahead.
So, in terms of, you'd have to go into different, you'd have to find the ley lines and then be able to teleport down to the different tiers eventually when those are released. But you'd have to pay, like, in materials, I guess.
Yeah, it's probably going to be materials or currency or portal shards or some combination therein. But yeah, you'll be able to kind of work your way down, and basically you'll be able to use the ley line to teleport to crystals underneath the world instead of just on the surface, to be able to get from point A to point B quicker. Because they've said, if it takes you an hour just to get from tier 1 to tier 5, then that means you've got to set yourself up for at least an hour plus to have enough time to be able to go into those areas, which they don't want. They want people to just be able to walk right in and go to the place that they want to play the game at and have that be that. So I really appreciate that. Anyway, gosh, I feel like there's even more stuff that we could be talking about, but
Yeah.
we're getting close to the wrap-up time here, so let's do our final wrap-ups of who everybody is and what everybody's up to. So, of course, you all know me, Legendary Neurotoxin, coming at you with live feature Rant every week. The last episode of Castles and Crap Shacks, and then is going to become Content and Creations the following week. I have a giant, it actually looks like a 65-hour schedule that I'm going to be starting with streaming starting next week. But the Combat Daily show isn't going to be starting until Wednesday, and that's going to be a 2-hour show from noon to 2 Pacific time. It's going to be every single day, starting from the 27th, just featuring combat, focusing on combat, learning about combat, experimenting on combat, living in combat, dying in combat, eating combat, breathing combat, sleeping combat, pooping combat. Combat is just going to be my life for those 2 hours every single day. So get hyped for that.
Combat.
Yep. Oh yeah, it
Cody
is.
just asked what Extra Life is.
Extra Life. We talked about Extra Life already.
Yeah, I know. Cody's running everything.
And we got the cards here from Rick Heaton, who is the community manager for Extra Life. So if you want to know more about Extra Life, go to www.extra-life.org, and you'll be able to find out stuff there. Yes, GM. Yes, Chip GM, that's exactly right. So, Poro, why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about what you're up to and what you've been doing these days?
In Landmark and stuff? Or
Or just streaming and stuff in general, because you're going to hopefully be starting back up with the streaming again, maybe a couple weeks, right?
Yeah. So I haven't been streaming partly because of my shitty living situation. People are in way too close quarters right now. So when I go back to school, I'll start doing that again. It's going to be September 1st. Probably September 1st I'll do it because I'm going to come back early in the day. So the night of September 1st. I think that's a Monday. I definitely am going to be hanging out in the streams that are doing combat, though. Probably like Spoody and Tenma and the other people that are in the Colossus Guild, because I'm in that guild now. So I hang out on their TeamSpeak. So you can find me there when they're streaming a lot of times. In Landmark right now, I'm working on a big house. You can go on Twitter and see it. I'm trying to recreate that. If you want to contribute to it at all, it's not just restricted to myself. I'll give people building privileges, and we can make it a big, spooky house with a cool garden and do PvP on it and stuff, and it'll be fun. I'm also thinking about doing my own Colossus, maybe a Fae, even though Faes aren't very big. I don't know. We'll see. And that's pretty much it for what I'm doing. Follow me on Twitter, because I'm real fun on that.
Indeed.
Yeah, you are.
All over it.
Already done.
All right. And then the two of you, both of you, I'd love to hear individually what you're up to and what you're doing with your streaming and your building and all of that sort of stuff.
Well, I don't really stream, although I would like to get into it. I only have one monitor, so it might be a little bit hard for me. And I have my tablet over here, but that's a pain in the butt going back and forth between them. I haven't really been playing too much Landmark, only because I kind of burnt out the building thing, unfortunately. I love combat, and once combat is in, I will definitely be back in the game. I just can't wait to start building my own battlegrounds. Like, I could definitely build my own battlegrounds because I have a ton of ideas for those, but when it comes to just regular structures and stuff, I can't really think of much to build. And that's about it. My name is Zubei in-game. You can friend me, anyone. It's Zubei _ on Twitter, because Zubei was taken. Bastard. And that's about it.
All right.
What about you?
I'm not much of a builder, so I'm also waiting for combat. So we'll probably team up and make a really cool PvP arena. So.
Yep.
Nice. Very
Pulsing
cool.
army.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're thinking Rebellion, because Rebellion is pretty vacant, and I think Rebellion was probably going to be a pretty big PvP area, hopefully. That's what I'm thinking anyways.
Yeah. I'm probably just going to stay with group for now. I created a guild called group because, people are going to be looking for group, so, group. It's kind of a...
Alright, group sounds
Clever.
good.
Yes. But nobody's really asked to join, and I don't really go actively recruiting, so it is just me right now.
You should just join us, Neuro.
Yeah, I probably should. I don't know. I'm kind of waiting for multiple guilds whenever that functionality comes, and I have no idea when that's going to be. But one
If
day.
you want to see pictures of the wedding, by the way, they're on the Twitters.
Yeah, everywhere.
Thanks, guys.
It was an
for
awesome
taking
wedding, by the
pictures.
way.
We really
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah, that
it.
was
You're the
great.
best.
Oh yeah, and the like I had said before, I've got the whole 13 minutes beginning and end on my little 640
yeah.
by whatever camera. It's not the greatest resolution, it's not the greatest audio, but damn it, I documented it, so gotta put it up at some point. So
I support multi-guilding.
Yeah, that'd be sweet if we have like alliances. Just have guilds and then group together as an alliance, but still be in a separate guild somehow.
there's so many ways it could be done. I'm really just looking forward to when they open up the options for that. Yes, Mojo Kitty, they are the people who got married in Vegas. That is correct. These two awesome,
Right in the
lovely
chapel, right in
folks.
the hotel. Actually, we switched it. It was supposed to be somewhere else, but we decided to do it in the chapel because we had a bunch of people that wanted to come, which was awesome. So we were like, let's just do it in the chapel since it's so convenient. Everyone can just go right there.
Yeah.
So
They had a discount for SOE Live attendees, but it said SEO Live.
SEO.
That's funny.
Yeah, they screwed that one up.
Yep. But it was awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really a great time. The wedding was great, and then being blessed by Mr. Lock 6 time himself to ask RNGesus to watch over the both of you, and then he busted out the booze, and we all got to drinking before we got more than 5 feet out the door. So
oh yeah,
that's Vegas.
that was delicious.
Alright, and on that note, I believe it is time to wrap up the show. Thank you all for joining, each and every one of you in chat, all the awesome folks that followed throughout the show here. Poro Sorceress, always a pleasure having you on here. and Zubei, Reanazra. It was absolutely a pleasure hanging out with both of you.
Yep.
And really glad to have you on here. And when combat comes through, when we've got more to talk about, I'd definitely love to have you both come back on sometime.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Cool deal. Well, that is it for the show, folks. So I am going to get into our shutdown procedure. And
Everybody.
see you later, everybody.
Take care.